Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and welcome to another roundtable for Nether. We have a pretty good crew starting out with us here. Hello, everybody on the Google Hangout. Welcome.
Hi, Marcus.
You all got upgraded okay. Google Hangout actually changed. I don't know. There's some sort of upgrade that happened that I didn't know about till like we went live. So... now, this is our first real roundtable after we've actually been able to get some real hardcore play into the game. And so now that we've had, what is it, a week and a half of play, a week of play? How long is it? I guess it's been about a week, hasn't it? How are you guys feeling about it?
Oh man, I'm in love with the game.
Oh, enough to marry it?
Almost.
Almost. Yeah.
I'm not sure how my mic sounds on here.
That sounds
Sound
pretty
alright?
good. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, no camera, but, you know.
Should be up.
Saint, you've been live streaming a lot. And
Yes,
you've
sir.
been playing a lot. And
Yeah.
I know that that my wife Lisa, I hear her just laughing out loud sometimes. She watches you. So, haven't the changes in the game that have just come in just this past week have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I'm digging it.
Yeah, from when we saw it, I don't know. We saw it, you know. I guess we first got into the game a little over a week ago, and things were very black and white, and now they're all colorful and beautiful. It's pretty impressive. So, what are your Saint? What are your thoughts so far? Like, are you thinking that that the game is something that you're really looking forward to playing long term, or it's just good right now and we'll wait and see, or how do you feel about it?
I'm very excited about the changes that are coming to the game. I think and one of the things that I've tried to do since like the beginning of the stream last week when the game launched is try to make a good place for everybody to come as a community and discuss the changes that are happening in the game. And I think as speaking on behalf of the community so far, I think everybody is excited about how many changes have happened in 1 week with the game. If you guys recall from, I'm saying from the beginning, how bad the optimization was the first day or so, or 2 days. It was really, really bad, and we couldn't even spawn in and stuff like that. So the fact that they went... Is he eating on stream?
He is.
That's what. Okay. That must taste really good, dude. Can you give me some? That's a great pickle.
Yeah, no. This is a pizza from Amato's, which is amazing up here in Bangor, Maine.
Oh, okay.
Gourmet.
So so basically, I lost my train of thought. That's the
I know. Pizza does that.
Are you
The
guys
changes
like
are great.
beer?
The
You
changes
got
are
beer?
great. Yeah.
Is that cool?
No, it's not
Beer and
cool.
pizza, baby.
No,
Yes,
it's
sir.
not. It's not cool. It violates the rules of Twitch.
Does it
We're live
really?
on-
Really?
Yes, we're live on Twitch. If you show the label, it violates the rules. So
I'll rip that label off, bro, and say it's a
put
root beer.
put a sock
Okay.
on it.
All right.
Pour it in the glass.
Well, I'm glad I asked then, because I don't want to get you guys in trouble.
No, I don't want to be in trouble either. So,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you guys talking about?
So, what we're going to be talking about, that I wanted to talk about today is there's a big topic that came up in the discussions on the forums is death and when you die, wiping completely to zero. What are your guys' takes on that?
Well, if you want my opinion, I'm not very interested in that. That's like playing hardcore. You know, there's other games that are, their hardcore mode is when you die, you lose everything. And I can tell you that I never play that mode very much. And I've seen statistics from other games, such as Infestation and PoE, that there was less than 10% of the people who participated actively in play like that, and that it just wasn't a moneymaker. So that's my opinion. I'll let some other people weigh in.
Anyways, so I did put a suggestion on the forums just to see if instead of completely wiping just tier system, where if you know how you have certain tiers you get to by putting skill points in it, so when you die you would drop down a certain tier, and then people started elaborating on that and coming up with their own ideas. But I think overall the whole community agrees that there needs to be some form of not a complete wipe, but at least make it so that it's encouraging the player to try again. Because at the moment, I think a lot of players are having an issue right now with when they die, they're like, fuck this, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
Like, after they work so hard.
I am not interested in... Okay, so I am interested in character development. I am not interested in walking backwards on my development. And I actually... Now, maybe this was my wrong assumption, but... I actually assumed that they just didn't have the player characters save yet in it, and that it wasn't intended to be that way. Is it intended to be this way?
Well, I hope it is, because me and my friend, we played for a while and we didn't die, and I reached like level 23, and my friend reached like level 31, and at a certain point you don't even get stats anymore. So you have to make decisions what you want to do with your stats. And even though if you die, the next night you can make it back to 23. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter for me.
You can. I'm Sir Die-A-Lot.
Well, just be careful and bring a lot of bullets with you. And yeah, we played with a group of 6 people, and it makes the game a lot easier. I tell you that.
Okay.
You think it's hard, but if you communicate well and do it like a team, it's easy. So I think it's a good thing to reset everything like it is now and keep on working on your character over and over if you die. Because what's the point if you're full? You're full in like a day, maybe 2 days, and then what then? You're done. There's no point of it.
Well, I actually thought that the acceleration on the stats and everything was extremely high because they were testing it. This is just how I was thinking. I didn't actually know that maybe that this was an actual feature in the game. And it seems to me that I want to play my character for like a year to reach the maximum levels. And so I want to, once every 10 hours of play I get another point to assign, or something like that. But that's just my style. It's really interesting to hear that you like it this way.
Yeah, well, if they bring down the XP a lot, or if they increase the XP needed for levels, then I might make a different decision on that. But if they keep it as it is now, I would be satisfied. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can see that it would be way too fast of acceleration if you could hit your top levels in 6 hours of play or whatever. It should be more like 600 hours of play.
Yeah, but you can die in a finger snap. One wrong decision and you're done.
Well, I could also see, back in Ultima Online when you were a red, you were a player killer. For the rights of being bad or nasty in the game, you gave up some stats. You gave up some stat stuff. I think while eating you need to mute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
My bad.
Oh yeah.
My bad. Sorry.
So the they would actually, if you're watching him, they would actually give up some of their stats if they died. And so to be a grandmaster, to have 100, skill points in a certain area was a really big deal, because it always took, so long to get to that last point or whatever to get your Grandmaster title.
Yeah.
And so when you saw somebody who's that skilled and was a red character that you knew would kill you, that was actively engaging in PvP, you knew that they were really, really good. And I knew that I just needed to run away.
Yeah. Well, and maybe another thing, what a solution would be if they had like a permanent skill tree that you can level up, and like a tree that resets every time you die.
Oh no, that's a really interesting thought. I could
So-
see that.
Yeah, that would give the player an advantage. So if they die, they will still have something at least. And for the other skills, you have to work.
Interesting. So, yeah. Well, I like that idea. I don't have any ideas on how to implement that part, but I like that idea because
We should bring it up.
Well, we are right now.
Yeah,
they
right
watch the
now,
show,
so, yeah.
and we have staff here in the hangout. They haven't said hello yet, but they are here. So
Yeah, well,
Hello.
we have Yeti here, of course.
Yep. Yeti, streamer, gamer, now video game professional, working for Phosphor Games. So, anybody else? What do you guys think about the stat stuff here? About how you lose it? Nobody else has any opinion.
I think that they need to do something with the respawning as a whole. We had this topic of discussion in chat earlier, where everything that needs to be implemented in the game needs to have some emerging gameplay to it. The fact that you just die and you respawn with nothing is great to an extent, but is that really going to push the game forward? It's the same thing where I brought up the topic that when you die, you can just click on your items tab when you respawn, before you respawn, when you're changing the gear of your character, like how he looks, and you can actually access your global inventory. Me personally, I think that's horrible gameplay mechanics, because now you're just giving me the freedom. If I die, really, you're saying in one hand, I lose all my skills, I lose everything, I'm hardcore, but in the other hand, you're like, you know what, you can just access your global and just gear up your guy again, go back into the fight. So they need to pick and choose what they want out of this respawn system, and I think one of the things they need to do is get rid of that access to that global inventory from the start. Like, make us run to the outpost or make us run to the safe haven to gear our characters up. And I brought a big point up about that is that's also gonna discourage hackers, because one of the reasons why hacking is so prominent in Infestation is because it's the ease of use. I just spawn in, gear up my guy before I spawn in, click a server. I already have a CMAG or a sniper rifle with as much ammo as I have because I'm a hacker, and I just go on and continue hacking. If I had to actively go to a point and gear up my person before I have to go and hack, this is going to make it a lot harder for the hackers, and most of them are just lazy anyways because they don't have skill. So it'll just make them want to, it'll kind of turn them away from doing what they need to do to hack.
I agree with that completely. The only problem that I can see coming from that would be people camping those safe spots where people go to gear up, and then as soon as they step out, they're getting shot.
Well, what's funny about that is that the safe spots are not very safe, are they?
Right.
You have to go through this shield of no safety to get to the safety.
Yeah, and that's a problem with a lot of the games, especially like in Infestation 2. The similar aspects come in, whereas, there's not a lot of hackers in Nether, but I can see where the safe zones are going to start being a problem when you get more players in.
I don't think that's going to be something that they can easily get around to do, though. That's kind of just part of the gameplay mechanic. Like, if you want to get there, it's obviously going to be a bit difficult for you, and I think that's how they want it to be, because you're accessing your global inventory, which is a really valuable thing. So the fact that there's spawn campers, I think that's always going to be something. But the way that the safe zone is in this, I think it's pretty good. It's not like in Infestation, where the safe zones, almost all of them are really open. You can really easily see where everybody's coming from. Like with this, the fact that it is an urban environment, you can see really, or you can find a lot of really kind of low-key ways that you can sneak into the safe zone. And personally, I've never actually had an issue with spawn campers, even though I've seen them and people are getting killed all around me, but you're able to sneak in there pretty easily if you're just careful about it. So that's my opinion on that, at least.
Well, they already camped the safe zone. Like,
Yeah, it's already happening a lot.
like they're already camping the safe zone. But I mean, the safe zone is so large. And I'm talking about the safe haven. I'm not talking about the outposts. The outposts are a different story. But the safe haven is so large that I see people coming in from different angles of that place that I didn't even know existed. Like I was coming in, I think it was from the south side. There's like this train that goes right into the safe zone, and you could literally go into the back side of that train from outside the safe zone and exit out the other side of that train and be in the safe zone. So like there's ways around it, and that's what's great about the environment that they've created. So like it's so congested in so many ways of getting in and out of buildings that you can actually get away from somebody chasing you. I've done it many times, and I've been actually chasing somebody and lost them completely.
You can lose them in seconds, man. It's crazy. I've chased people so many times already in the past few days, and a handful or maybe, escaped like in a finger snap. It's crazy. So yeah, you have to watch really carefully, and if you don't want to die, run for your life. And
it worked just as well for the team play as well.
Yeah.
I was in a group, and we had TeamSpeak, and we could talk to each other, but still, you could just turn your camera and you would zip on the way, and you would lose it.
Yep, exactly.
So, Abresh, do we have anybody in chat that has opinions?
Yeah, we do. The Bing Z guy. The bad thing is the safe zone. When the Nether come, other player just kill you anyway. No teamwork to get safe zone back.
Well, that is one very interesting thing about the game here is that while we are adversaries, there are situations that force us to work together if we are to be successful. Like when the safe zone is overrun.
Well, 2 days ago, me and my team saved the safe zone, and I think Saint was there as well. And there were multiple people, and we just kept shooting the nethers all over and kept restoring the devices, and we won in like 5 minutes. So it is possible.
How many people did you have there, do you think?
At that moment, I think we had like 5 people, but we're fully loaded with bullets and good guns. I wasted like around 150, 200 bullets. So we looted all day long, and then we went to the safe zone to save it. And we wasted all in like 5 minutes. So it's hard, but it's doable if you work out with the other players.
To also just touch on the saving the safe zone, restoring it, the anti-nether devices. There's other ways around doing it rather than going in there with a team, guns blazing, and taking all the nether out. I did it with a friend of mine. We both had our stealth trees up, and it made it a lot easier. We were able just to crouch, prone, sneak around the safe zone, and we avoided pretty much almost all of the confrontation in the safe zone and restored the nether devices. So.
Well, you can do it in 30 seconds. If you have 6 people, they all stand at one device, and if the counter goes down, repair it, and you're done. It's easy as that. So, if you they announce 10 minutes in front that the safe zone will be attacked, and as soon as the counter goes at 0, the devices break down, and you can repair them instantly. And the nethers, they will come after a minute, so there's nothing to worry about.
Oh, how interesting. Well, that won't be the same now that you've exposed that.
Well, I'm here to make the game better, so...
Yeah.
Well, there are more things, but I'm not sure if I should make that public. So I guess we'll talk about it later.
Well, if there are things that could use improvement, we can certainly bring them up. The only things we wouldn't want to bring up are like if there's a hack or something, like how to do the hack. So, yeah.
Well, no, it's not a hack, but one thing is happening now is that you can server hop easily. You go to a place where you know there's a lot of loot. You loot the place, you jump to another server, you loot it again and over and over and over and over. And if you do that with 6 people at 6 different spots, you're done for the day. You can play around, shoot everyone, and I don't think that's the idea of the game. They shouldn't place you on the same spot where you log off, and that's the same issue that happened in WarZ, and I think they should fix that.
Yeah. At the very
But
least,
the other thing is, I don't want to spawn like they had it before on the other side of the map, because if I die, I want to be like in 5 minutes or so with my friends, and not like 30-minute walk to get on the other side of the map.
Yes.
So you have to spawn in the area, but not on the same spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an easy fix for them.
I think that gives a lot more risk too. It'd be a lot more fun that you know your whole team server hops, and then the first order of business is to regroup and figure out where everybody's at.
We have a developer in the house.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What's up, Will? Your mic's muted, buddy.
Hey
There you
guys,
go.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hello, Will. Welcome
Hey.
to the
Hello,
show.
Will.
I've never done this Google Hangout thing before, but I've seen your videos and it's really interesting.
Yeah. Well. So, Will, I think that I've been killed by you before in game.
Yeah, I try to play the good guy, bad guy role in banditry versus being an enforcer.
So, Will, what is the thoughts behind how the experience works, where you know everything resets when you die?
Well, that is replayability. We want people to try to survive in their spawn as long as possible, and that that in itself should make you want to go out there and try to achieve your highest level and maximum amount of skill points. In the future, there's going to be things where we reinforce that, such as adding, like you could already tell if you look at the UI, it does save certain stats, such as nethers, the amount of nethers killed, players killed. We want to kind of build on top of that, provide some like reinforce stats in the background beyond that. And interestingly enough, since you brought it up, we're also working on a passive leveling system that is an account-based leveling system that is more in line with traditional MMOs.
So something that can help me, Mr. Sir Die a lot. if I put a lot of time in, and maybe my gameplay doesn't improve, but I still get a little bit of boost for my efforts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's several things that we want to do to really meet standards for both our PvE fans and our PvP players. You know, we don't want to nerf banditry, because personally I'm a PvP guy and I really enjoy the aspect of bandits, and I think that bandits should be rewarded in their own sense as people that hunt bandits do as well. But we also know that there's classic PvEers out there that really enjoy just killing Nether. And there's no reason why we shouldn't allow players or force players into a global PvP scenario when there's the opportunity to introduce co-op and perhaps lock down on a server where co-op players can do their own thing and help each other out. That reinforces the PvE mechanic side of things for co-op players.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoy the PvP aspects myself. So I'm there to play against the players. The Nethers are just an annoyance. Well, they're
see, that's the thing.
Yeah. That's
the thing right there. I mean, the fact that you say Nethers are just an annoyance means that we still need to improve on the Nether mechanics themselves. So that's an ongoing balance and ongoing issue for us. We want to make the Nether actually fun to fight, as well as rewarding. And when players are going out there hunting for each other, the last thing they want is the Nether to aggro on them. And realistically, we don't want it to be like that. We want the Nether to be a rewarding PvE experience with the potential of PvP being a threatening scenario that looms on the horizon.
I agree. It all makes more sense to me now. I can tell you that.
I just had a question about
it'll take time, but we'll get there.
I have a question about you're probably listening in when I was talking about the global inventory when you spawn in.
Sure, same.
What are your stances on that? What is your, you know?
That we're removing that actually. We're removing the ability to access global inventory while you're on your character screen, as well as removing the ability to save your spawn. A lot of players mentioned being able to like saving your spawn only at safe zones. Our concern with that is, say you save your spawn at Museum Outpost or Westview, there's some promising loot spawns around those areas that players could potentially exploit. We don't want that necessarily to happen, so right now we're just reverting back to randomized player spawns, so that every time you join a server, every time you log back in, it's going to be a random spawn. Now in the future, once we get enough tech, we could do some more specific spawn systems that are more friendly based off of safe zones, and once the loot tables are balanced and things like that, we could look at it then. But right now, we definitely don't want players exploiting the current system.
So are you actually saying that when with that new system, when we die, we could end up on the other side of the map whenever we come back in?
Yes, that was the way it was before the patch, and after the latest patch, players were able to save their spawns wherever they were when they logged off or jumped off, and that was players were exploiting that. They were sitting on loot areas that yielded good loot and really stacking up. There was another player that sent me a screenshot after 10 minutes of playing. He just server hopped constantly to stack up on loot. And
but what about people who are playing in groups? And then they end up on separate sides of the map when
right,
one of them dies.
That's unfortunately right now that's our that is the situation right now. But I was talking to our engineers, and something that we have on our timetable for the future is the party clan system. You probably heard me talk about that a lot on the forums, and things that we're going to do in the future is a party clan system. Now, right now it's random spawns, sure, but in the future, if we do introduce party and players, jump in a party, we will introduce a mechanic where players can spawn in the same location, same area, so they can immediately start working together. Now, there's some we got to be careful with that, because that could in itself could be potentially exploited as well.
Right.
So,
I've got a couple questions I just want to get out. I've got to leave here soon, but one of them was to do with what you're saying with people are able to camp loot spawns. I was wondering how that loot spawning is actually working, because there's been times I know a few loot spawns where I can go and I can almost always find the same gun there, whether it's a sniper or a good SMG or something. Mm-hmm. But there's times where I picked it up and turned around and looked behind me again, and it's there again already within seconds.
Yeah, so the loot tables, they're still very buggy, but the way the loot system works is that we place nodes where certain types of loot will randomly generate. For example, we have a weapon category, a medical category, and a food category. They're not going to always drop a canned food, or they're not always going to drop, medical supplies. They're going to drop something within its category to be lore related. For instance, if you go to an ambulance, and the ambulance is obviously not going to have weapons loaded on it, it's going to have medical type gear, but it won't particularly be the same type of medical type gear. So it may not be a bandage, it may be pills the next time. It may not be pills, it may be an actual first aid kit. And all of that is on a random respawn timer. So while the positions are still there, the respawn timers are still variable.
I've definitely noticed a lot with the bandages and some of the more the kind of collectible things like chewing gum and cigarettes and stuff. Those definitely randomize a lot. But is there certain locations that only spawn a certain type of gun? Because the spots I'm talking about are mostly, there's just one on top of a building. I kind of make it a regular routine for me. If I spawn in that area, I purposely make my way to that building.
Go up there, yeah. Yeah, see, those are things that we need to...
And it's always the same weapon as well. There's no randomization to it. I've never seen anything else spawn there.
Yeah, you're right. It's a spoiler, and that's something that we have to work on, and we will.
Another question I had
was... questions.
Sorry.
Go right ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
Another question I had is there going to be some more kind of advanced bullet physics in the game? I'm not sure what it is right now, but I've noticed I've only tried sniping a few times, honestly, because right now I found it isn't really worth it for me. I can't really snipe that well, and when I do, I get about 10 nether after me, so it's pretty much certain death. But when I have sniped, and I have got 2 kills so far with the sniper only, but both times I was aiming directly on the person. I didn't see any bullet tracers or anything, so it seems like it's just where you aim is where you hit, kind of.
Right. So, like, in terms of weapon mechanics, including features such as bullet drop, a lot of that takes a lot of tech. Our team, engineer-wise, is really small. We only have like three engineers or programmers working directly on Nether itself. So it would definitely take some time, but those were things that were illustrated in our timeline for developing on, and shooting mechanics is definitely one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them change over the course of a period of time.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
So, a couple of questions that I had. One of the main things is, and one of the hot topics right now, is player movement. Now, I know like it takes time to get the gun mechanics to where you're at, but I feel, and this is just me playing for as long as I've been playing and just seeing the general consensus of it in the community, player movement's way too fast. When like I can strafe and dodge, I can strafe and move as fast as I can as if I was sprinting in a straight line. And that really makes for some. It's not really fun when you get into a gunfight and the guy's just strafing every bullet you shoot at him.
I agree. I mean, I totally agree with you. A lot of us are playing the game actively to see how players react. And, right now strafing speeds are like the same speed as running, so technically you can run straight forward and have the same exact speed strafing. Those are things we're going to nerf, and we're going to slow down to make it more realistic. Everywhere from, like, if you ever notice, aiming with the shotgun, you could still run just as fast as not aiming with the aim down sights with the shotgun. A lot of balances are going to be made to make it more fluid and realistic.
We have
So,
a few
like,
questions in the chat, if it's possible to answer some of that.
Yeah,
Sure,
one more question I just really wanted to ask, because it's still on the movement issue. The inertia, is that it being checked into with, like, when you're strafing, when you have the gun pulled up, like in first person?
Right. Yeah, that is. We have a
Okay.
weapons designer that works on that, and one thing that we were hitting on and that he's working on right now is the speed in which you pull up your weapon to aim down sights. Right now it's very snappy and very fast. These are things that are going to be more fluid and smooth in the future.
Cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Bresh?
All right, so Shadowstar is asking, how do you people feel about the environmental not doing damage, such as the fire and barbed wire?
Right now, those are just completely pure environment cosmetics, meaning they don't do any specific damage. They don't have any kind of properties to them other than just pure art. Those are things that we could look into in the future, especially when we start implementing traps and other environment type damage stuff. But yeah, that's something that we can definitely take a look at. Just we don't have the bandwidth to do that right now, because with our massive world we have so many campfires and there's so many things that technically you should take damage on, like barbed wire and stuff like that. We're trying to take care of the groundwork, that's most important to us right now, and that's the mechanics of the game, the nether, the shooting, and the PvE and PvP experience.
Well, I look forward to the day when I can run through a campfire, be on fire, and then run into the middle of my team and catch the rest of my team on fire. I think that will be glorious.
Yeah, like the rise of the Phoenix right there.
Yeah,
Marcus Phoenix.
Leroy Jenkins all over again.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, second question. Streaming Canadian, will you guys ever implement a premium services like WarZ or a subscription-based server or whatever?
No, no, there won't be a subscription service or anything like that. Our IAP is based off of a cosmetic marketplace, which we find that will eliminate pay-to-win theories in general and will allow us to be more creative as well as respond to the community in terms of what they want. there's a lot of things that we're doing to really make it more customizable for players, and we don't want to hinder anybody through the use of subscriptions or premium mechanics. Now, there may be some things that you may be able to purchase via bundle down the line, and those will affect mechanics in a certain way, but certainly not in a pay-to-win fashion.
I think that's one great distinction you guys have made from another game that we've played.
Oh yeah, no, I've played it too. Yeah, definitely.
And I think it has a marketplace for that. That there is a place for that. But I don't know how the whole world feels, but I know that at least in North America, many of the people feel that pay to win is bad, and that they would not play just based on that if they thought it was play to win or pay to win.
Yeah, the tough thing about that is that I'm going to go ahead and bring up Infestation right now. It came up at a very, very niche time after DayZ, and there was a lot of people looking forward to it. They had a huge player base, and when they introduced their market and ammunition was part of purchases, you were introducing a required mechanic to millions of players that were really hyped about WarZ, and a lot of them broke into it. In our game, we don't have that kind of player base. We have a very small hardcore player base. If we were to introduce any type of pay-to-win mechanic, there goes all of our players. That's it. This is why we avoid it.
Yeah. Well, the differentiation between the games is very good. They are there's not been a whole lot of people saying, "Oh my God, Nether is another WarZ or DayZ."
Are you sure about that?
Well, okay, not at the same level as what happened between DayZ and WarZ, and it's just not at the same level. And I think it's a very easy, once you've actually looked at the game. If you're ignorant, it doesn't matter. But once you've actually looked at the game and played it for a bit, you realize that these are very different games. And I thought, now the Infestation guys won't be happy about me saying this, but I'll go ahead and say it, is that I thought to myself that maybe when Nether came out, I was not going to play Infestation any longer. Mm-hmm. Now that I've played Nether, I really enjoy Nether, but I also enjoy the good aspects of Infestation, and so I will play more. And that to me just really, drives the point home that they are not the same games. And this isn't just, WarZ 2.0. This is Nether.
This is true. I mean, they've been out for a while now, and they've got to polish their game a lot. It's the same thing with us as we move forward down the line as well.
So, who has not had a chance to speak up here yet? That's got something they'd like to say.
The only thing I hate about the game is the fact that I lose my levels sometimes if I join a different server or I get crashed on accident or something.
There's so many complaints. Let me touch up on that.
Yeah, that's the only problem. Other than
character data is all stored on a character server that we have on our back end. We're separate from our login server as well as our primary stat for.
Well, I think we're losing you.
Okay, is there clear?
It sounds like you're an underwater robot. Maybe I'm the one losing it.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
Then it's all on my end. Sorry, everybody on Twitch.
No problem. Mic check. 1, 2, this.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah, so we've had a lot of server woes since the launch, and those are going to be improved. So, by the time we come around to release, all those server issues will be resolved, and you'll see character data being saved. You won't be crashing as much, things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I totally lost everything, and in fact, I'm starting to wonder if, I'm being DDoS'd.
Oh no.
So, okay, this is the end of the show. You guys can keep talking.
I got live over here if you want to come back on, Marky.
Yeah, so
here on my channel.
Anyway, those of you who are watching, sorry, this will be the end of the show. I gotta take some measures to try and fix this. And if you're watching on YouTube, sorry I did it early. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you. Okay, so unfortunately, DDoS. So that is. I thought I had that stuff ironed out. So we will do this again next week if you're watching live on YouTube, and we will, so there we have it. Okay, everybody. Thank you, and take care.
Thank you.